It's the G to the U to the R to the U. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's the G to the U to the R to the U. Welcome to the divisional round recap. All right, so we all know we love this. I love this part of the weekend in football, so I'm gonna go right to it, man. So I'm gonna talk about the Jacksonville Jags taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, man. So, I mean, everybody knew and their mama knew the Chiefs were a favorite team. They've been here before. They have the experience. So I want to focus on the Jags aspect of things. So what I noticed about the Jags, I think they're one X receiver away, one big-time receiver away. And when I looked at the landscape of the NFL, you know, when you have quarterbacks like a young ascending quarterback like a Trevor Lawrence, you need a big-time receiver to go along with them. And like, you need that type of couple, that relationship. Obviously, you've seen Joe Burrow, and then you have Jamar Chase. You've seen Josh Allen, and you have Stephon Diggs. So, and all of a sudden, you saw Tua, and then they put him with Tyreek Hill. So, every ascending quarterback need that big-time receiver. So, as I look in the landscape of the NFL, I believe the Jacksonville Jags are D-Hop away from taking that next level. I don't really think they need necessarily a young receiver, a young rookie receiver. I think they need a veteran receiver. I like the receiving core. I like the diversity on the skill sets of the receiving core, from a Zay Jones to a Christian Kirk. I like what they bring. I like Christian Kirk being more of a slot kind of wiggle receiver. I like Zay Jones being a contestant ball receiver. I like Evan Ingram matched him in because he's more of a receiver than a tight end. I think with the addition of a D-Hop, I'm talking about an Alpha X receiver. I think that's going to make Trevor Lawrence take that next leap as far as putting the Jags into that category as every year as far as an annual top 4 playoff team. You know what I'm saying? They got to be in that final for that annually. This year, they got there based on Trevor Lawrence taking the lead. I really like the defensive scheme. I think they're going to get better as far as that goes. I'm a big fan of the defense. Tyson Campbell had a splendid season, the young cornerback. So defensively, I like where they are. I think they're going to grow and mature. And in my belief, you could always get free agents as far as to upgrade defensively. But offensively, I love what the Jags did, man. And I think if they had an big alpha receiver like a D-Hop, I know they're going to get Calvin Ridley coming back. But obviously, I didn't see Calvin Ridley playing maybe 3-4 years. So I don't know what type of Calvin Ridley they will get as far as next year. But I really like the direction. I love what Dougie P and those guys are doing offensively. I love the offensive line. I love Travis Etienne. I love them being a power running team. They could block and they could pass block. So overall, my assessment is I was like, the Jags needed an Alpha X receiver, and that guy is D-Hop. You got a guy in like D-Hop, and you put him in that receiving core. I'm talking about the Jags will definitely ascend as far as a top 4 team in the AFC, in my opinion, man. So kudos to the Jags. They had an excellent season. I predict them to perform this well in the preseason. I predict them to win the AFC South, and moving forward with having a guy like Trevor Lawrence, who's by far the best quarterback in the AFC South. I predict we're going to annually or yearly see the Jacksonville Jags in this situation. My only hope is I want them to acquire an alpha receiver, not no guy in between. I'm talking about an alpha dog like a D-Hop to help them take Duval to where eventually they want to be. All right, so let's transition to the next topic, right? The next game, the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, all right? So I'm going to focus on the New York Giants aspect of things, all right? So I know people in New York, they were probably excited. They're like, we got Brian Daboll. We made it to the playoff. We overachieved. But I think that's one of the worst things that could happen to the New York Giants, because when they overachieve like this, y'all think Daniel Jones is the answer. But no, Daniel Jones is always going to be the question. And when I looked at the New York Giants, I think the worst thing that happened to them was them having success and making the playoff and going this far. I think it's fool's gold, because at the end of the day, I don't think Daniel Jones' skill set is suitable enough. I believe the New York Giants going to remind me of the Minnesota Vikings with a guy like a Kirk Cousins. They're going to remind me of the Raiders when they had Derek Carr. It's like you have a competent quarterback, but his skill set don't elevate you enough to be really a serious contender. And now you're going to be in that situation where you're not bad enough to get an elite quarterback, one of those young stud quarterback, but you're not good enough to be in one of those situations but the quarterback is not good enough to be considered a top tier elite Super Bowl contender. So then you're stuck in that mediocrity situation. And moving forward, I look like the New York Giants. I'm like, this was fool's goals. I think this is the worst thing that could happen. Sometimes tanking will help you out. You might have to take 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward. Right now, the New York Giants took 2 steps forward, and I essentially see them taking 5 steps backwards because Daniel Jones already this is his max. He already climaxed. This is his peak. The best we're going to see Daniel Jones, in my opinion, is this. I don't consider Daniel Jones will get better moving forward in this season. If you look at Daniel Jones' career 10 years from now, when you're going to look at him in his as far as his career resume, this season will be the best of his whole entire career. And I think this is going to put the Giants backwards because they were in a rebuilding situation, but because they accidentally made the playoff with Daniel Jones, this is going to put them in a little stagnant situation. And I believe Daniel Jones is like a Kirk Cousins, he's like a Derek Carr, he's like one of those mediocre quarterbacks that will make the playoff every 3 years, maybe every 2 years, but they're not going to be a repeatedly playoff contenders annually. So he don't fit that mold. That's why when I assessed the Giants in this game, I was like, man, as a fan base, I bet you the Giants fans are happy. But for me, looking at it as a evaluator, as a front office evaluator, I don't like anything about the Giants. I think they're farther away than they are close. Like I said, this season was a fool's gold situation, man. A lot of things happen, but the Giants really need help in the secondary. They might have a good defensive line right now, but they need help in the linebacker core. They need help in the offensive line, and they need help in the receiving core. And once again, Daniel Jones is more of a question than an answer. So with the Giants making the playoff, to me, this kind of hurt them in the long term because, like I said, I feel like Daniel Jones is a medium type quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Now, those type of guys like the Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, they make the playoff once every 2 to 3 years. It's not in an annual situation like other elite quarterbacks. Now let's transition to the Sunday games, right? And we're going to start with the first game between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'm going to focus on the Buffalo Bills aspect of things. Yeah, I know y'all see the rhythm right now. I'm focusing on the losing teams rather than the winning teams because y'all going to hear all the good things about the winning portion of the teams. So I'm going to focus on the losing teams. What I saw about the Buffalo Bills, and I said this many weeks ago, when Von Miller, the closer, the guy who they hired to go to the Super Bowl, once he got injured, I thought that was the end of the Buffalo Bills season, man. And frankly, the way they are built and the way they set up, this team is set up for a lead. This team is built on the offense and Von Miller closing. So in this situation right here, they have no pass rush. Their defense is more schematic than talent. They don't really have the talent. I think they missed on the draft with guys like AJ Epinesa and Rousseau and guys like that. Even Ed Oliver, I don't really see him as being dominant, even though he had his best season probably as a pro. So when I look at them, I don't really see difference maker. I see guys that work hard. Like I said, the whole entire Bills secondary to me, they work harder. They're more effort than they are. I'm sorry, the whole Bills defense, they're more effort guys than impact guys. Obviously, I think Von Miller and Matt Milano, as far as impact guys, those are the two major impactful guys. But really, that's why you get a guy like a Von Miller during the offseason, because the close game, it's unfortunate for the Bills that Von Miller got hurt. I think he was the deciding factor as far as their playoff run. When you go against elite quarterbacks like a Joe Burrow in this situation, and then you were going to go against another elite quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, you need a Von Miller, the closer, one of the ultimate closer. We've seen the impact of Von Miller when he was with the Bills prior to the injury. I think that was one of the things that were really missing because defensively, like I said, they're more effort type of guys than talent type of guys, man. I don't really think they have impactful guys other than a Von Miller and a Matt Milano, and they were missing Von Miller. And I think that was really the effort. That was the reason why. I'm not blaming Josh Allen. I'm not blaming, they don't have no running game or any of the rhetoric as far as offensively. I think if they had a Von Miller, the game would have been played different, and Josh Allen would have, the offense would have played different. I think the Von Miller injury was the key reason why the Bills, which I basically first thought when the injury happened, that the Bills are going to be a good team, but they're not a great team. Now let's transition and finish it up with the Cowboys and the 49ers, man. And I'm going to focus on the Cowboys aspect of things. So, and I'm going to go with the injury situation once again, man. I think the Cowboys played a hell of a game. I know they're going to blame a lot of stuff on Dak Prescott. They're going to be like, Dak threw some bad balls, Dak threw some interception. But personally to me, I think the injury of Tony Pollard, I think he's such an impactful player as far as making the Cowboys offense so versatile. The fact that he could be able to run ball and he makes explosive play, I think that was kind of lacking. And his threat, because when Tony Pollard was in the game, the Cowboys offense was running a little bit differently. I think they were a little bit more scary. But when Tony Pollard got injured with the high ankle sprain, I think that whole changed. DeMarco Ryan, as far as the 49ers defense, knew all of a sudden that the only impactful guys the Cowboys have on offense is CeeDee Lamb. So then you're able to do some defensive scheme and design to try to slow down CeeDee Lamb. But obviously that had Tony Pollard, I think that destroyed him, because after Tony Pollard got hurt, the Cowboys did not do any type of screen plays or any type of flare pass to the running back, any of that situation, because Zeke is not an impactful guy as far as getting chunk yards. I think that really affected the flow of the Dallas Cowboys. That affected the flow of Dak Prescott. And I think Dak Prescott tried to make a little bit too much. He tried to do a little bit too much. And I think because they were lacking another explosive player. So to me, that just indicate the Cowboys, they're a good team, but they need another explosive player. I think that's why they were looking for a guy like an OBJ. And I think they're really lost because they're missing an extra receiver. I think it could have been, even because Tony Pollard played basically his versatility. He could catch the ball out the backfield. He could run the ball. So in a sense, he's positionless. They needed another guy, another athlete like that as far to upset the 49ers. As you could tell, the 49ers had their guy with their Christian McCaffrey, obviously a Deebo Samuels and a Kittle. So essentially, I believe the Tony Pollard injury cost the Dallas Cowboys an opportunity of going to the NFC Championship game to face the Eagles for the third straight time. So I know the media outlet this whole week, they're going to talk about Dak. Dak don't deserve the money. Dak is this, Dak is that. Me personally, I think if you take Dak, we all know Dak needs help. He needs weapon around him. Dak is not good enough talent-wise to carry a team. He's not that type, right? Dak is the type that needs talent around him to help him elevate his talent. And one of the most impactful talented guys they had got injured in Tony Pollard. So, like I said, I won't focus more on the Dak deficiencies. I just thought the injury bug hurt the Cowboys at the wrong time, man. And congratulations to the San Francisco 49ers. Impressive. That defense is hellacious. I'm not even gonna lie, man. That defense in every level, hellacious. But obviously, I thought the Cowboys offensively, I thought McCarthy did a good job as far as scheming guys open. But unfortunately, I believe his Swiss Army knife, I think that was the reason why they lost this game. And the same thing, I believe if you'd have took away Christian McCaffrey, if McCaffrey got injured and out for the game, I obviously seen the San Francisco 49ers would have been in the same situation as the Dallas Cowboys. So with that said, this concludes this beautiful show podcast on my 2022 divisional round recap. Y'all know who this is, man. This is Monday Morning Football with the Guru. Y'all go ahead and like this. Y'all go ahead and love this. Y'all go ahead and share this. And I am out. It's the G to the U to the R to the U.